Hey friends, Mike Shaner here with episode 1 of the Liberty Ranch. This is going to be a whole different thing than the sedition papers. It's going to be a whole different thing than No Treason with me and Ben. This is I'm going to read a little bit from something I prepared earlier, but it's a whole different thing. There's going to be some politics involved, but it's not a political podcast. It's a philosophical one. I want to talk to you about logic and the news and current events. All that stuff will always be there. But ranching, freedom, liberty, life, loving life. God, I love my life. My baby's 6 days old. Wow, man, that's something. Being a daddy is a whole different thing. I'm truly blessed. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys being here with me, and show you a little bit around the ranch. Not going to do a lot of editing on this one. This one's going to be a lot different, right? So this first episode, I'm going to ride around on the four-wheeler a little bit. I'm going to show you some of the cow. Look, I've got this little calf over here. Well, cow. Little heifer. She's, Clyde, leave her alone. Over here hiding. I'm going to show you a little bit, some of the cows and some of the ranch. And hang on just a minute. I got to come out here and clear this. But see down here by the creek. See. So, got a couple down. I don't know if you guys can see them because I got a couple down here. I'm looking for the rest of the herd. I'm sure they're somewhere around, and gonna go check on the horses in a minute. I've got I've got a message before I even get into it. I really meant this to not be a political episode at all. I just wanted to talk about fun stuff and then sort of set the stage for what's coming. But man, I get on social media and that's a mistake. I get on Twitter and whatnot. And so this is a message for Trump supporters, right? Quit messing it up. Like, quit screwing it up, dude. Libertarians right now, a lot, not all, but a lot of libertarians right now support Donald Trump because of the obvious injustice against him. It's obvious for anyone to see there's a witch hunt after the man. Like, these indictments are insane. There are presidents who have committed real atrocities, and so has Donald Trump, but they're not going after those. They're going after this nonsense, this political speech. It is an attack on freedom of speech. It's an attack on freedom of association. It's an attack on the freedom to protest. And they're scared of the man. That's truth. They're obviously scared of him, or they wouldn't be attacking him the way that they are. So libertarians are pointing that out a lot. It's a lot of big time libertarians, or like high profile libertarians, are pointing that out on social media. And the Trump cult, they won't take the win, and it's hurting you. It's hurting your cause. So when we come out and we say, hey man, Donald Trump did this wrong and that wrong, but this is an obvious witch hunt. This is actually something I posted recently. I never have liked Donald. I don't like any politician. I hate politicians. I've got people saying, oh, Trump's a tyrant, but Obama isn't. Of course Obama's a tyrant. The two don't go, the two aren't exclusive. Quit doing that. Quit. Just stop. Take the win. Right now, just be like, okay, you don't like what this guy's done? Cool. Like, I'm giving you advice. You're not going to take it, but I'm giving you advice. You don't like what this guy's done about bump stocks. You don't like what this guy's done about the spending. You don't like what this guy's done about drone strikes. You don't like all these bad things that we don't like. It's not a Trump center. Trump has been as bad as the rest of them. That's what we're saying. But they're afraid of Trump. And if you care about the truth, and you care about justice, and you care about liberty, you have to say that as well. But what Trump supporters do is they hear all of that, everything I just said, they erase hey, we're defending Donald Trump. They erase that from their mind, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you attacked my hero. What has he done that's tyrannical? And then they go off, dude. And then it's just this war where we have to list every bad thing. We remember why we hate the guy. We remember why we didn't like him to begin with, because you're making us list it and then arguing with us and defending the whole thing. The Democrats, they do the same thing. Like, you'll say, oh, Trump is this and that, but so-and-so did this, and they'll ignore every bad thing that you said about the other guy and call you a partisan and blah. Quit worshiping politicians. Politicians are not going to save you. They're not going to save you. Politicians don't care about you. Donald Trump doesn't care about you. But if you care about Donald Trump and you care about getting him elected, quit fighting the base that can give you the election. Libertarians, I don't vote. I don't believe in voting. I don't think it's there's going to be a lot of talk about this. But there are a lot of libertarians. I'm not a libertarian. I'm a voluntarist. I'm an anarchist. There are a lot of libertarians who do believe in voting. And there are a lot of libertarians. Most libertarians are conservative leaning. And we have an innate sense of fairness, and to defend the truth and to defend fairness, you have to defend Donald Trump right now. Those people they're never going to have a libertarian president elected, but they're kingmakers. They can decide elections. Quit alienating those people by fighting them. You don't even have to agree with them. Just say, hey, I disagree with you, but thank you for defending someone that you don't like, that you think goes against your belief system. Thank you for having the integrity to say, hey, you know what? Even though you don't like all these things about that guy, you're still willing to defend what's right. We don't have to agree. But when you say one, you can list 10 great things, everything I just said. You can list 10 great things about Donald Trump, which I don't know, but you can list 10 great things about Donald Trump, one negative thing, and all you'll hear from the Trump supporters are, I can't believe you said that negative thing. Okay, go ahead and prove that. And then you'll prove it. They'll say, what has Trump done that's bad? Well, how is Trump, because they believe that he's been good on war. They believe all these things. So you'll point out, okay, well, he banned bump stocks. He all the drone strikes, the inflationary spending, platforming Fauci. You bring all that stuff up that you kind of forget about because of how the witch hunt is. And then you remember, you're like, oh yeah, this guy really was bad. Thanks for reminding me of how bad he was. And they'll say, okay, well, that happened, and then they'll start excusing it. First, they'll deny that he's done anything, and then they'll admit that, well, that happened because of X, Y, and Z. You know what? Just say, yeah, that shit happened, but who cares? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. I think he's better than everything else. That's a reasonable answer. We don't have to fight about it. You don't have to think the guy's God. He's not perfect. Nobody is. Just accept that people are willing, be appreciative that people are willing to stand up for what's right, even when it turns their stomach. Even when it's like the old saying, I disagree with what you're saying, but I'll fight to the death for your right to say it. Look at this. Like, that's being put to the test with Donald Trump. A lot of people, he is very distasteful to a lot of people. A lot of people can't stomach him, but we're defending him because it's the right thing to do. Take that win. All right. I'm off that soapbox now. So, let's go take a little ride. Let's take a ride around the ranch, and, I'll come back and talk to you in just a minute. I'm just gonna, get this started up. Give me just a second. And I don't know what we're gonna see. We might see nothing. It might just be a bunch of weeds, maybe some grass. We may see some animals along the way. But I've got to get this in. So also, one last thing before I start up the, machine here. So the name of the podcast is The Liberty Ranch. Find it. Please follow, like and follow on Facebook, Writing the Revolution, because that's where I'll always download it to. Of course, please become my friend and follow on Facebook. I hate the word follow, but that's what they use. It's Mike Shaner, obviously. YouTube, you can go to the Voluntarist Party of Mike Shaner. That's where the show will be uploaded. It will be on podcast under the Sedition Papers and the Liberty Ranch. So TikTok, it's Mike Shaner. And like, why am I doing this, right? I'm doing this because I believe there's an oppressive system and the empire is collapsing. And I believe there are some people who want to find freedom and who want to understand the philosophy of liberty but don't know how. And my job is to help them see it, help them see the logic, the history, the things that didn't make sense to me 20 years ago, that a lifetime of living and learning and debating and reading and wisdom have brought me. And I want to share that. So I think it's a worthwhile cause, and I hope you do too. So anyway, if you do, please like, follow, all those things, and share, man, because I get this out to, on some avenues, I get it out to a bunch of people, and some avenues, I get it out to like 10 or 20 people. And that's disheartening to see those 20 of you. I appreciate every one of you, but I think we got a pretty good message, and I'd like to share it. So help me share that. So, all right, going to put you on hold here for a couple of minutes, going to drive you around, and then we're going to talk a little more. I'm going to read you straight from what I typed up earlier, exactly what's going on with the podcast and what to expect in the coming episodes. Might, if he's awake, introduce you to my son, River. I love him. I love River so much. This whole life is shocking. I never thought that. I mean, it's like I'm living a dream. It really is. It really is. So, if he's awake and up and I can show him to you, I'll introduce you. If not, then, I got a lot of pictures of him on social media. Go find him. He's adorable. He's such a good looking kid. So much better looking than me. Looks like his mama, thank God. All right, let's go. So if you're watching this and you just don't want to see what I'm looking from all my cattle, but this is probably going to be about 3, 4, 5 more minutes of just riding around. I'm having a little bit of fun too, and then I'll get back to the show. Tell you what's coming up. I'm going to be interviewing at least one, hopefully a bunch of presidential candidates in a couple of weeks, and then a lot of philosophy, a lot of just talking about life and uplifting stuff. Anyway, my point, I stopped only to tell you that if you want to fast forward about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, if you're not interested in seeing all this, that's cool, but I'm going to keep doing it. I'm not editing this at all. I'm just going to put it on here live. It's not always going to be like this, but hell, this is my life. This is what it is, and I thought, okay, I want to be authentic, right? So no editing, just this is what I do, this is how I live. Oh, I lost you guys. I don't know where. So I wasn't going to edit it, but I guess I'm going to have to splice a little bit of video together. Anyway, I've been out riding around looking for the cattle. Found them. If you don't know if you can see them, seeing that thicket over there, you can see the, anyway. Yeah, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and just let you know what the show is going to be about, and see if I can prop this up. Where can I prop this up so I can do some? You hear him? Hear her? All right. So, all right. So obviously, like I said, it's gonna be some politics, but I don't aim for this to be a purely political podcast. I do want it to be informative, which means discussing the news and some hot button important issues happening in real time. And some episodes will be more politics centric than others. For instance, I'll be interviewing different Libertarian Party presidential candidates, starting with Mike Tremaine on August 16th. And I'll obviously talk about things going on and happening in the Libertarian Party because my audience cares about that. You guys, most of you are in the party or around it. So I'm going to talk about like messaging and the New Hampshire drama, my take on that. But like, I don't believe in government, right? So I don't believe you can vote your way to freedom, and I don't believe we can vote our way out of this mess. So mainly what I'm going to be here in doing is going to be talking about education, looking at the history and where we can find solutions from that history. Like, check out the seditionpapers.substack.com and look up the Who Will Build the Roads article. That seems to be the state's favorite argument, is who will build the roads. Well, government didn't build the roads. Enterprise capitalism built the roads, and I'll go through that whole history with you and show you. And if nobody will ever argue with you about who will build the roads again, they'll move on. And that who will build the road, it covers. It's a very short read too, but it covers infrastructure in its entirety, right? So what government does is they'll see a parade coming and then jump out in front of that parade and pretend they organized it. They did that with civil rights. They did it with everything. Like, government doesn't produce anything, and the only thing they produce is tyranny. So go read those articles. Read the one on healthcare. You'd be amazed at how affordable healthcare was before government got involved. So whenever the statists start arguing with you about socialized medicine and whatever, you have actual statistics and facts. But more than that, if you're someone like I was 20 years ago, who was always an anarchist at heart, but didn't know really how it would work, this will teach you. Like this, it's sort of an intro level, an introduction to freedom, I'll call it. So, I've come to believe that the majority of people are not libertarians, and even far less are voluntarists or anarchists like myself. And I believe that some of us are wired that way, and everyone is libertarian on selfish issues. But overall, I think the majority of people, hey, Clyde, hey, buddy. I think the majority of people feel safety in the herd, and they want a shepherd. I think that is the majority of people. And I believe it's not my job to amputate those people from the society they choose for themselves. I believe it's only my job to educate them enough to allow those of us who wish to be free to do so peacefully. And I'm reading. I typed this up. I didn't have time to memorize it or rehearse it. But and also to help guide others who are wired like me along the journey. So that there are enough of us that it makes sense to allow us a peaceful separation, even if they wouldn't do so from a purely moral perspective. So there needs to be enough of us that it's not worth fighting. Like, okay, let those guys leave peacefully, And I think there are enough of us for that. There's not enough of us to win elections. I don't believe in it anyway, but even if I did, there's not enough of us to make a difference that way. There is enough of us to opt out, and there are enough of us that, if educated properly, would choose to opt out and forego the system. And if we all could come together and sort of do it, then there would be enough of us that they would let us, and we wouldn't have to fight, So, and that's all I want. I don't want to change society. I don't want to change the world. I don't want to change government. I do want to change the world, because I want my son to have a world where he can be free in. But I don't want to change the system anymore. I just simply don't want to have to be forced into it. And I believe there is a way out of it, a peaceful way out of it. It starts with noncompliance. But voluntarism is a moral philosophy. It's deriving from the ultimate morality, in my opinion, that individuals own themselves. But we're also a logical lot. Like, sometimes we're overly analytical, and until we understand how things can work, we can have the tendency to not fully embrace that thing. In spite of our essence and nature telling us to cling to freedom above all else, I think most true libertarians and the majority of minarchists fit this bill. Like, it's not that they're inherently statist because they're minarchists and because they believe in a political system. They just don't understand a different perspective. They don't see a way out of that. So they're trying to find the most free way to live peacefully. They just haven't had that breakthrough, that light that breaks through the facade, that facade shattering light that shows them how a free society can actually be a more prosperous, be more prosperous and peaceful. Though not perfect. Perfection doesn't exist. But it can be more prosperous and peaceful than a managed society. I believe it's my job and the job of this show to deliver that light to those who wish to find it. And that's it. I'm just here. It's not my job to change anybody's mind. It's not my job to argue with anybody. It's not my job to convince anybody of anything. It's my job to say, hey, this is what I believe. This is my philosophy. These are the ways that I've seen that it can work. And if you wish for it to be your philosophy, let's talk. And if you think that you value freedom, but you don't understand, let's talk. Let's talk. Share so other people can get this, please. And that's it. I believe it's my job and the job of the show to deliver that light to those who wish to find it by explaining the philosophy and the historical proof of things like infrastructure and medicine and social issues, to explain how things have happened organically and the government harvested those organic institutions and put their brand on it. They're great with words. They're great with changing definitions, and they're great with branding. They're not idiots like we like that the system's working as it's designed to work. That's terrifying. The show will be about life. It'll be about obstacles we face and overcome. It'll be my personal journey, overcoming self-esteem and alcohol issues. My journey into fatherhood, and through it, you'll get to see me grow as a father as it develops in real time. How I've become a better man and how I hope I can help others do the same. I think I have something to offer, and I think that I think we all have something to offer, and I think my experience can be valuable to a lot of people, and I hope that it can. And that's all. I hope that it can. I know I have valuable experience to share. So I'll talk about horses and cattle and college football and auto racing and anything else that comes to my mind. I don't expect to change anyone's life 1 hour at a time on YouTube or Facebook, but I do hope I can make you think and laugh and either be proud of yourself or begin to take the journey to become someone you like and can be proud of. A lot of you out there are like, hey, I'm very proud of my, great. I love you guys. I wasn't always, and I'm not going to go, I've gone into a lot of it on some other shows, I'm not going to go into that journey right now on this one, but I am going to talk about it over the coming weeks. Going to talk about it a lot. So, this is the Liberty Ranch podcast. And my ranch is not called the Liberty Ranch, actually. It's called, this business is called Black Market Cattle Company at the Shaner-Yamane Voluntaryist Ranch. But, that was a lot to put into a podcast title, and I'm trying to gain followers, so I tried to keep it simple with the Liberty Ranch. We raise cattle, we sell seed bulls, and we sell direct-to-consumer farm-to-table meat. So, if you're not local to Central Alabama, find you a local rancher. Find you somebody that's off market and work with. But if you are local, I'll help you out. Let's stay out from under the government's watchful eye. And we'll talk about that. Occupational licensing, ways to get around it, reasons it shouldn't exist, arguments to convince yourself and to convince others if that's your bag. And, we'll go over stuff like that, all that stuff. It'll be happening, Be sure to subscribe to the seditionpapers.substack.com. I'm a much better writer than I am a talker. So, and I explain those points a lot better there than I do here. But I'll do my best here. I think some of these best shows are going to be not me monologuing, but actually the interviews. So this week it was just this. It was just me introducing myself, riding around the ranch on the four-wheeler. I don't know if I showed you guys the horses or not, but they'll be in there. If anybody on here is if anybody watching this is good with this sort of thing, I would like to make an intro of that ride around the ranch. Put some music to it and, those graphics, and turn it into more of a real show. So if anybody wants to help me do that, I appreciate it. Next week, the show is, so I'm going to go ahead and give you August. Next week, the show is going to be about the libertarian divide. It's going to be about, this August is going to be a pretty political month. It's going to be about the divide between left libertarians and right libertarians and anarchists and voluntarists and anarcho-communists and anarchists. I really want to get into that and sort of go with where that beef came from, and if we should and explore if we should find a way out of it to come together. Well, maybe that's not the right answer, but I want to talk about it. I want to think about it on a week. I may have a guest on there that we interview. I may not. But it's a conversation I think is important to have, and it'll be a theme. So that's going to be next week. It's just going to be, hey, what is libertarianism? What is anarchism? What is voluntarism? And what are these different sects, and why are they always at war with each other? And if you brought the whole tribe together, could you accomplish something? I don't know. It's worth talking about. It's worth having the conversation. So that's next week's episode. The week after, I'll be interviewing Mike Tremate, who's seeking the nomination for president of the United States. He's seeking the libertarian. So I'll have an interview with him. That'll be on the August 16th episode. The next episode after that, I will discuss all of the presidential candidates. And the next, that'll be the 23rd. So we'll go through the good, the bad, the ugly, from Trump, DeSantis, to Vivek, to, the Democrats, to Biden, to RFK Jr. We'll go through all of that. Again, I'm not going to vote for any of them, but I am going to. So I think that actually makes me a little more unbiased about it, because I'm not going to vote for any of them. I don't want a ruler at all, and I don't legitimize the system. So, but I'm a political junkie. I like it. I follow it like sports, So I'm going to talk about those and what my perspective on each one of them. I'm not going to tell anybody who to vote for, but tell you why. Probably why I think you shouldn't vote for any of them, honestly. But I'll give I'm just going to give their stances on everything and their record. Then the last week is sort of open. August 30th, it's sort of open. It's mostly probably going to be about college football, because we're about to start, and Roll Tide, baby. So that's August. I'll put all this up. Main thing, please, if you've lasted with me this long, if you've listened to me ramble and watched me ride around the ranch, please share the video on whatever platform you're watching it on. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please share. Please follow on Facebook, Mike Shaner and Riding the Revolution. On TikTok, Mike Shaner. On YouTube, the Voluntarist Party of Mike Shaner. And on Twitter, Mike Shaner. The Sedition Papers podcast on Spotify. Please subscribe to that. I keep forgetting that, and that's actually where I get a lot of my bigger numbers. So please do those things and join me on the journey. Let's learn. Let's have some laughs. Let's have some tears. Let's have some fun. And again, Roll Tide, baby. So excited. Hey, it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year. I'll be with you every Wednesday from now on. So let's build this thing. Come with me.